Have you ever wondered why you keep repeating the same emotional cycles? Why, no matter how much you promise to change, you always return to the same old patterns? Perhaps the answer doesn't lie in your willpower or even your recent history. Maybe the roots reach much deeper into the ancient soil of your unconscious. Carl Jung would tell us that you are not just a person with habits. You are a vessel carrying universal patterns of the human soul. Archetypes, he called the main models of behavior that live inside every one of us. And here's the startling truth. 3 of them may have already shaped the foundation of your personality without your conscious permission. Maybe you've been walking through life as a blind dreamer, as someone who always feels alone, or as the one who believes they must win at all costs. These inner roles are not random. They are the stages your soul passed through while trying to make sense of a broken world. The first archetype to awaken within us is the innocent. The innocent believes in the goodness of people, the safety of promises, and the fairy tale ending, where all wounds are kissed and healed. It is the child within the part of us that still hopes someone will come to save us. When the innocent is in charge, we avoid conflict, choose comfort over truth, and whisper to ourselves that everything will be fine, even as the world crumbles around us. But reality has little patience for prolonged innocence. When life disappoints us through betrayal, abandonment, or the coldness of adulthood, the orphan awakens. The orphan is the second archetype, born from broken trust. It sees the world not as a playground, but as a battlefield. Cynical, guarded, and deeply skeptical, the orphan builds emotional walls, convinced that safety means never letting anyone too close. It is not weakness, it's survival. But living behind those walls too long will silence the heart, and it is in the ruins left by the innocent's heartbreak and the orphan's retreat that the warrior is born. The warrior steps in with armor, weapons, and a vow. Never again, no one will hurt me, no one will see my fear. The warrior fights, conquers, and rises believing that pain is something to overcome with discipline, focus, and resilience. It is the archetype of merit, achievement, and self-defense. And yet, beneath all that strength, the warrior still carries the wounds of the orphan, still misses the purity of the innocent. We all carry these 3 within us. But which one is running your life today? Are you living in denial as the innocent, avoiding the hard truths of your reality? Are you stuck in isolation as the orphan, protecting yourself from pain but also from love? Or are you trapped in the endless struggle of the warrior, always fighting, always achieving, but never resting, never trusting, never softening? The first step toward wholeness is recognizing where you've become stuck. But our inner world does not stop at survival. As life moves forward, new tensions arise, especially between the urge to care for others and the longing to be free. Here, we meet the next 3 archetypes: the caregiver, the explorer, and the rebel. The caregiver is the part of you that sacrifices, that stays when it's hard, that gives, and gives, and gives often without asking for anything in return. It is the mother who postpones her dreams to raise her children, the friend who always listens, but is rarely heard, the employee who takes on the weight of the team. The caregiver defines worth through service and fears being selfish. But here lies the shadow. When the caregiver loses themselves, they suffer silently, hoping for a recognition that never comes. And in the silence of that exhaustion, something within begins to whisper, then scream, "Where am I in all of this?" That voice belongs to the explorer. The explorer is the archetype of the soul's rebellion against conformity. It is the part of you that longs to run into new cities, new relationships, new ideas. It craves authenticity, autonomy, expansion. It doesn't want to please, it wants to breathe. When the explorer takes over, you feel the urge to quit your job, sell your belongings, or finally tell the truth about who you are, but taken too far. The explorer becomes untethered, lost in the pursuit of novelty, unable to settle, unable to build. And when the caregiver feels drained, and the explorer feels trapped, the third energy rises, the rebel. The rebel is fire. It doesn't ask, it burns. It breaks rules, challenges systems, and destroys what suffocates. The rebel is the scream against injustice, the punch against repression. But left unchecked, it becomes destruction for its own sake, burning bridges, relationships, and even the self. Maybe today you are the exhausted caregiver, giving from a well that's already dry. Or the restless explorer, constantly searching but never arriving. Or the rebel, tired of being polite while your soul screams for freedom. The truth is, all of them are sacred. but none of them were meant to dominate your life forever. You can care without disappearing. You can explore without abandoning. You can rebel without destroying love. These archetypes are not costumes. They are spiritual keys, gates to the deeper self. And until you hear them, honor them, and integrate them, they will run your life from the shadows. So ask yourself, who's been making your decisions? Who's been whispering in your ear while you call it intuition? And what have you given up in the name of survival that your soul is quietly grieving? But life is not only made of survival, rebellion, or responsibility. It is also made of beauty, of joy, of moments that make your heart beat louder. This is the domain of the next trio: the lover, the creator, and the jester. The lover is the fire in your chest when you fall in love, the intoxication of color, of music, of soul-deep connection. It is the part of you that wants to merge with a person, a purpose, a piece of art. The lover lives not by logic, but by passion. But beware, when unbalanced, the lover becomes needy, obsessive, dependent, confusing intensity for truth, and longing for love. And when that passion seeks expression, the creator is born. The creator is the one who builds from within. It is the writer, the dancer, the architect of inner worlds. It doesn't want to replicate it, wants to make something new, something sacred. But for many, the creator is stifled by perfectionism and fear. What if I'm not good enough? What if no one understands? And then there is the jester, often misunderstood, but profoundly wise. The jester is the part of you that finds comedy in chaos, that laughs at the storm, that dances in the fire. It's irreverent, spontaneous, and alive. And while the world tells you to be serious, the jester whispers, what if you're taking this all too seriously? When life becomes too heavy, the jester brings levity. When you're drowning in your own expectations, it reminds you that laughter is a kind of prayer. The lover, the creator, and the jester don't ask for permission. They simply arrive. But ask yourself, when was the last time you truly laughed? When did you last create something just for the joy of it, or allow yourself to be swept up in desire, in awe, in wonder? These archetypes are starving in so many of us, and yet they are the ones that keep us alive. And now we arrive at the final three. The energies that govern power, not the kind that controls others, but the kind that rules your own life. These are the ruler, the magician, and the sage. The ruler is the archetype of authority and order. It wants to build empires, internal and external. It is the planner, the organizer, the one who takes responsibility. But its shadow is tyranny, the obsession with control, the fear of vulnerability, the loneliness of leadership. How many times have you felt like you had to hold everything together, even when you were falling apart? Beside the ruler stands the magician, the alchemist. This archetype doesn't see reality as fixed. It sees symbols, synchronicities, and invisible threads. The magician transforms pain into wisdom, shadow into light. But this power can be dangerous. When the magician loses ethics, it becomes the manipulator, the illusionist. Have you ever felt afraid of your own ability to change everything? And finally, there is the sage, the quiet observer, the eternal student, the one who finds solace, not in noise, but in understanding. The sage seeks truth, even when it is inconvenient. It sees beyond dualities, beyond labels, but its shadow is detachment, using knowledge as a wall, wisdom as a way to avoid feeling. Are you hiding behind learning so you don't have to feel the grief? The ruler, the magician, and the sage are the architects of your inner sovereignty. Together they ask, are you ruling your life with clarity? Are you transforming with integrity? Are you seeking knowledge that liberates, not isolates you? These archetypes carry tremendous power, but they demand balance, because too much control becomes oppression, too much transformation becomes chaos, and too much knowledge without heart becomes emptiness. Now that you've met all 12, the real question isn't, which archetype am I? The question is, which archetype is unconsciously running my life right now? You are not meant to live from one alone. You are meant to integrate them, to honor each voice, each stage, each truth, because the innocent has something to teach. The warrior, the sage has something to learn from the lover, and even the rebel needs the ruler. Sometimes, Jung called this process individuation, the journey of becoming fully, deeply, truly yourself. Not a mask, not a role, but a symphony of selves, in harmony. So where are you stuck? What parts of you have been silenced? And which ones are screaming to be heard? This is your invitation, not to become someone else, but to come home to yourself. to listen for the whispers of the caregiver, to feel the fire of the rebel, to allow the ache of the lover, to embrace the laughter of the jester, to wield the clarity of the sage. These are not characters in a story, they are you. And when you learn to invite them into your awareness, you stop being a victim of your own unconscious. You become the conscious author of your life. So here's a challenge. For the next few days, watch yourself with new eyes, not with judgment, but with curiosity. When you react, ask, who is reacting? When you withdraw, wonder, which part of me is afraid? And when you feel alive deeply, undeniably alive, listen for the voice behind the joy. Write it down, reflect, and ask, is this archetype helping me grow, or keeping me small? Is it protecting me or preventing me? Integration begins with attention, and attention begins with love. If you feel moved by this journey, share with us in the comments below. Which archetype surprised you? Which one feels like home? And which one have you been afraid to meet? Let's walk this path together as seekers, as souls, as fragments of something ancient and holy. Thank you for being here. And remember, the transformation you're searching for isn't out there. It begins within. The power is already in your hands. The question is, what will you create with it?